Today we are going to talk about the troubleshooting of the SC smart cameras. We will introduce from the common tracking tools and to the smart camera capacity. In order to locate the issue, normally we divide into 5 steps. Firstly, we need to determine the camera model, firmware, SEMVS version, and it is very important to know whether your camera is baseline or customizations. And for the second step, we will locate the problem when it is happened and whether it can be repeated. And for the third, we will swap the camera, cable, or power supplies to see whether the problems will still occur or it disappeared. So for the next step, when you locate the issues, then when sending the camera to our site, whether this problem would be reoccur, because sometimes the problems is related to the environment. So it is important to check whether it is environment issue. And for the final step, you can feedback to us, and we will collect the log and check about the previously steps whether it can locate these issues. It's software issue or hardware issue. Then for the first part, we will introduce some common tools we normally use. The first, don't worry about the software. We can send you later. And the first tool is the we call it PuTTY. PuTTY is a terminal emulator that can support SSH, which is a protocol based to the secure shells into the Linux server. So we put the camera's ID in the host name here, and we left the port to 22 and select SSH protocol. And after we click open, it will show you as a command window. Then you log as the root, and do not need to enter the password. It is empty. And then you can show see that all the file systems inside our SC camera. The app, which means the applications and the solutions. So if this use is about 100%, so sometimes it will cause to the issue. Of course, for the data, sometimes it will also more than 100%. If it is nearly 100%, it means that its internal memory is nearly full. Here is some command for this camera. The first one is open the camera log level and redirect the logs to the SSH. So here we type the following command inside the PuTTY. You also can directly copy this line. And after you click this, you are able to see the you have already opened the log level 2, and you can output the log to the desktop or to ours to check the specific information. The second command is reboot. If you click reboot here, you can directly restart the cameras. And df is the command used to display the current file systems. Like the following image, we use the df here, and it can show you the used and available memory. We will have a demo later. So just quickly do this. And this is very easy because in the Linux systems, you also use the following command, like the cd or ls or im. Im is for a delete. Because our camera actually is in Linux systems. So we need to use these tools to transfer the command into the Linux and communicate with the camera. And here is step about how to check the internal memory. We just need to copy this command into the PuTTY, and it will show you about the total memory, free memory, and below many informations. Okay, for the second step, before the second step, we can quickly test about this function. So we have a smart camera, and we copy the IP address into this software we call PuTTY, and click SSH protocol and open, and log at the root. Now need to create the password, and you can see that we already communicate with the camera inside. And for this one, we copy this, and it will show you the set log level successful. Then if you have already set the log level to 2, it can show more detailed log rather than just very few logs in the smart camera. And you also can use the following one. It will show you the available memory and free memory. Then we change to the second part, which is the abnormal camera enumeration logging. It is very common if your camera cannot be connecting to the PC. So for the first step, you need to check whether the hardware has already successfully linked or not. So you need to check with the light of the camera. The light definition would be written in in our user menu. And normally we just need to check whether these 3 lights, like the link, power, and the STS, is green or not. If you find that the link cable is turned off, it means that the camera network is not normal. So you need to change a GigE cable to cross-test whether this camera are able to connect with the network or not. So if the RG45 interface is not working, then even you change a GigE cable, it will also not working. So it is very easy to judge whether the port is damaged or not. For the second step, you can also change other smart camera if you have. Then you can also cross-test whether the camera has issue or not. For the second very common problem is that you found two same cameras in the camera list. This is because in the network in the Ethernet card setting, you use the advanced TCP setting and enters 2 IP address here. So each IP address of the Ethernet card would found one camera one time. So it will show you 2 same camera. For the next issue, it is also familiar when you change the camera firmware or like when you suddenly cannot log into the SEMVS even you enter the right password. The reason of that is because you use MVS or IDMVS or other software, third-party software to try to connect with our smart cameras. And after that, even if you do not set anything here, like you change the parameter from normal to the RGB pixel format, but even for that, when you change back, you are not able to connect into the smart camera again. So for this kind of issue, the recommended way is to use putties. The first step is to open the camera log level and the redirections. And the second step is to use the following command and to read the value. For this step, if you quickly change back to your original parameters, it will also show 19 and 3. So even if the value is 19 and 3, you can also continue the following step, because the next step is to delete all the global configurations of the cameras and turn back to the default. So when you turn back to the default, actually all of the settings would be, global setting would be disappear, but it will not affect the solutions. So after you click reboot, and the camera can able to log in. Let me show you how this is. Here we use 3D MES as the example. Actually, it is a limitation of our software because we have so many software here. You can see that even with the 3D camera, you can also allow to log into the camera, but it is not recommended to adjust anything here. If you change one of these, then you cannot log into the IDMVS again. For our latest IDMVS, we fix this issue. So when you connect with the smart camera, it will show you the unsupported feature. But for the previous MVS versions, it still can log in. Okay. Here is the printed log of this. So actually for this putties software, it is very useful because whether you link the camera into smart SEMVS or other software, it can show you the log whether it is successful. Okay. And for the next very common issue is the network related error. Sometimes if you updated the firmware, especially for the Smart Camera 3000, because as we know, Smart Camera 3000 had two versions, 1.0 and 2.0. This is because if you have already created the solution in the 1.0 version, then when you update it to the 2.0, some of the model actually has already improved and upgraded. So it is incompatible with the 2.0 version. So it will have this issue. So firstly, you can check that whether your camera, whether whether you have already upgraded firmware. And if you found you cannot log into the camera, you can degrade your uh, smart camera with the MVS, because MVS, this software is very useful to check with the IP address. Even you cannot log into the smart camera, you are allowed to connect the smart camera with the MVS. But if you connect the smart camera with the MVS, you cannot see the image even you grab the image, because this software is only for you to update the firmware. Here we can also update the firmware, so you can degrade the smart camera from 2.0 to 1.0, and then you type again and to check whether your camera can log in now. If it is only about the firmware issue, then it is very easily to solve, because we just need to delete the solution. You can also directly choose factory reset, and then you can reset all the solutions and change to 2.0. By the way, our 3.0 version of the smart camera would be published next year. So for the 3.0 version, it cannot import or export the previous version, and also 3.0 version of the Smart Camera 3000 is not allowed to update from the old machine. So if you want to use the new version of the Smart Camera, you need to directly purchase the new one. Okay, for the next issue, this is a very common issue which can be seen in the 2.0 system. Also, you cannot log into the smart camera, but you did not update the firmware, and also it is not belong to the first issue. Uh, uh, when you check with the log level to 6, and you found that the data, here is the data patch has already been used 100%. Then it means your image has already full. This issue will lead to you cannot log into the software, and also it could lead to many problems, like you cannot save or switch the solution, or the camera would be very unstable and easily disconnect from the smart camera SEMVS. This is all because the image memory is full. So first step, you need to collect the image memories from our Putty software. Then after delete all the files, currently you can log in now, but this issue would still happen. So you need to update it, our firmware from 2.0. This 0611 means it is in June 11 published. So you need to use one firmware published at September. So this is different. If you found your camera is in 2.0 June 11 version, you can let me know, and we can directly update a new firmware for you. And the next issue is about software related. So some of you may also miss this issue, that it will show you inputting base image from your PC file. This is because your resolution of the image is not the same with the camera. For example, if you use Smart Camera 3016, your resolution is 1408 times 1024. But if your image is more than this value or smaller than this value, this above the arrow will also occur. It needs a test image exactly the same with the camera. So you have two ways to solve this. The first way is you can modify the image size to be the same with our camera. Also, you can directly change the camera resolution. Here is the parameters in the extend parameters, and you can find image width and height here. You can select the custom and edit the image size. Then you can change the image. After you change the image, you need to click Finish here. Otherwise, the parameter will not take effect. For the 300 version, it does not need to do this because it can use uh, every size of the image. It is different from the previous version. So 3.00 actually is a development of our smart camera. For the second problem, is when you use the anomaly detection, it will show you that set starts learning failed. There are two reasons for this. The first one is that you do not use the fixture in the base image. Our software needs to fixture one of the important features both in the OK and NG samples. So if you do not open this, you are not able to do the anomaly detection. For the reason two is that your OK and NG image did not find the fixture feature. So if this happened, it would also show you that set start learning field. So here is the example for it. Although it is in Chinese, you may also can see the step of it. The first step, it imports the OK and NG image. There is only one. You can also just select the OK and G or OK image, but it will be much accurate if you input both of them. So in the video, he directly inputs these two types of image and it shows you the arrow. Then there is one step. You need to click to the OK or to the OK image input, and you need to check that whether there is an orange rectangular here. So you need to check images one by one to check whether it has this orange rectangular. If it does not have, for example, this one, you need to delete it. Otherwise, the system would fail. For the NG, it is also the same. You need to delete all the unrecognized image. Like this graph, you did not see the orange rectangular here, so you need to delete it. Most of the OK and NG image that need to delete those kind of the unrecognized image. And after he deletes all the unrecognized image, So it can successful in the end, and it will show you a model. And for the third one, most of you have already tried our deep learning OCR model, and you found that it can import the models on your training. And it is very strange because uh, when you use our vision tree, which is our training software, and you directly input the bin files into the model list, and it will set recognize the model list field. It is because those of kind of model need to be converted before using. And also, those kind of models is individual. It cannot be common use. So if your model is from the Smart Camera 3000, it cannot be used in the Smart Camera 5000. So it is different kind of the model conversion way. Here is our training software, Vision Train 1.4.2. Most of you have already tried it. It requires the GPU and needs the GPU to be over 1650. 30 series GPU also allows you just to make sure you have over 16 GPU memory. And when you're training, there will be a difference with the training parameter. For the Smart Camera 3000 1.00 version, it, it does not allow to calibrate it as multiple lines. Like this, three lines, it is not available. You only can use one line. For the second one, do you know why it is also not correct? This is because when you label it, the rectangular actually has the direction. So direction from this line is from the right to the left. So the arrow here needs also to be the right to the left. And for the old Smart Camera 3000 version, they are not allowed to use the cloud server training. For the 2.00 version, it allows to support multiple lines here. So you just need to use one OCR module, and it can use multiple lines. For the previously, when you want to recognize each line, you need to draw one module. It is also not support cloud server training. And for the Smart Camera 5000 and 7000P, it allows to draw multiple lines when training. And also, there's a new function that it can automatically locate uh, the character's position. The previously model, you need to locate it by some very specific fixture. So it allows you to fix the characters. But for this one, it does not need any other uh, object to feature it. The system would automatically recognize where it is this character and to find it. So this allows to use the cloud server training, but it depends on your Ethernet. Some of the Ethernet allows to use it. but some areas cannot because this cloud service is in domestic in China. So for the characters model type, you need to select correctly. If you want to locate, then you need to select the text positioning. But if you want to use a recognize the code, you need to select the text line recognition. Currently, we only allow to recognize the numbers and the digitals. Uh, so it does not allow to recognize other language. So after you have already trained from the training software, if you do not use the cloud training, you will get two files. Normally, the first file is end with the model, and the second one is end with the bin. Those two models, both are not, can, both of them cannot use currently. They need to uh, transfer. So previously we have a model conversion website, and unlike here, it can select the type of the smart camera, and the files you need to submit. One is this one, which is end with the model, the first one. So actually, the second one is not required. You only need to use the first generated file. And the second one, you need to compress 12 training image and its calibration file, which is like this all train data or OCR train data. Those kind of things compressed together into one file. So these two submitted case need to submit one is the model file, another is a compressed file. And after you submit, you can click download. You can click submit here, so you're able to get the transport file. Then this file can be submitted to the smart camera. But currently, this website is in maintenance. So if it is ready, we will inform you. Maybe it is in the next quarter. So currently, if you still need to use the deep learning of the smart camera, you can compress the 12 string image and its calibration files to me, and also the model files to me. Then we can convert it internal for you. Then we turn to the next part, which is the communication issue. So if you found you cannot communicate with the PLC, there is a quick way to test it. The first very easily tool is the PCT meta system. This is a free test communication tool. So you just need to create a communication mode here. Like if you create clients in the smart camera, then you can create a server in the meta system. Then it can achieve the communication. It is easily and the second one, we also have this simulation software, which is UART assist. It is exactly the same. When you connect everything right, you can allow to communication from the IS232 port. So you need to remember that CX of the smart camera need to connect to the IX of the service port. So it needs to inversely connection, and you need to connect the ground together. You can directly connect the signal ground and the DC power power supply ground together, it is also okay. Here, normally we do not change every parameter here, and the data bit currently only can be used to 8-bit. I know some protocol actually can do like the 7-bit or 6-bit. Those kind of the data bit need to be customized. Currently, it's only allowed to use the 8-bit. And the third communication is the Modbus. Modbus also have a simulation software. We call that the Modbus 4. Modbus 4 is a client, which is a master. Uh, and our smart camera actually do not have, cannot be the client. When you select it, actually it's a slave. So currently we only can uh, perform as the server. So for the details of it, you can watch our videos at our vCloud, which is in the official website. And the next one, it is also common when you use the PLC, not only for the Profinet, for the previously PCB or Modbus, it also will occur. The issue is that when you open the software, you cannot see any parameters here. It will show you a blank window. Uh, the issue of it actually it is very easily to solve. It is because the IP address you set in the PLC is exactly the same as the IP address of camera. Uh, some for the other brand like Kians or Organized, they actually did that. Uh, the IP address of the camera in the PLC need to be the same as this. But for our brand, the IP address of the in the PLC need to be different with the IP address with the camera. So some people of you may tell me that some PLC can connect multiple cameras. So we use the device names to distinguish different devices. All of those IP address actually should be in lane. For the fifth one is the hardware, which is the I/O issue. Firstly, we will introduce the input setting. For the question one, that we only allow to use one line to serve as the trigger. We cannot use multiple lines to behave like the trigger. So when you choose line 4 as the trigger, then line 0 to line 3 cannot be the trigger anymore. So for the second issue, you cannot set PNP or NPN. This is because different types of the signals, it is depend on the models. For the smart camera 2000p and 3000, it can be set into two modes. For the smart camera 2000E or 5000, 7000p only have NPN mode, so you cannot change the polar here. So, for the question 3, that you have already checked about the connection of the input. When you trigger, the signal the camera do not react. Sometimes it is because the filtering time is too large. You can decrease the filter time and to check it. So if you want to use the hardware to trigger our solution switching, you need to adjust parameter here. So when you open the project management, you will find that it has a switch here. And also it is an auto switch function. If you open the auto switch function and you select the mode as the trigger IO, then you can use your hardware to trigger to switch the solution. Because normally we use one line to serve as the trigger, and for the other four, line 0 to line 3, we can use it as project switching. So here, high level means 1, and the low level means 0. So if IO is trigger or output, it will behave like a star sign. So actually, the five input trigger source would be right like this. From line 0 to line 3, actually, it's from the back, which is the right of the sequence, which is the line 0, and for the left one, it is the line 3. So the direction of this actually is from line 3 to line 4 to line 0. Line 4, it is trigger here. We use it as an example. So here it shows us a star sign. So for the second issue, it is also very common that you cannot able to output from the camera or input from the camera. So here is a quick way to detect whether it is camera's own issue. When you connect the device like this, and NPN or PMP devices, and you use your multimeters to directly link with the power source and the signal source, you are able to see the voltage change here. So if it is low level, it will show you a 0. But if you select this one, which is the valid electrical level, you can select from the normally on to normally off. Then sometimes it will have the actual voltage. The voltage should be the same with your voltage source. So if you find the voltage has already changed and it starts to have the value, it means the output function is normal. You need to check your connection to check whether it has something wrong. Normally, we will recommend these two ways to connect with your output devices. So in the end, we have already updated our smart camera function set from the smart camera 2000E to the smart camera 7000 Pro. We did not updated the smart camera 3000 3.0 version. We will update it later when this machine has already published. So for the smart camera 2000E, actually the function is limited. For those kind of measurements, actually we do not have here. Okay, and for the last one, I know some of you may interesting about our memory, internal memory here. So we also add the internal memory of the smart camera here. So for the smart camera 5000 and smart camera 7000 Pro, it allows to have 32 GB memory. It is very large. By the way, we need to you have already said here, which is the maximum number of the total models and the maximum storage solution here. It is referred to the ideal theoretical capacity. So if you use some tools like the deep learning OCR or the code recognition, those kind of tool actually would account for a large memory. So if we use those kind of tool, you sometimes you will find that you cannot create 40 models for a solution. So at those kind of time, you can check about the data by that software pretty. Okay, today our seminar is finished. If you have any problem, you can directly connect with me, or you can write your problems in from the message box.